On this edition of the Koffers, I am become Death, Destroyer of Worlds. All right, for a change of pace, we are moving out of the Monsterverse for a minute. And I wanted to take a look today at some of the new stuff that I acquired over the weekend on a day trip to San Diego. If you've never been, it's a beautiful city, arguably the best in the entire state of California. And this is coming from someone who doesn't live there. So I stopped into Super 7 to check out what they had. I actually posted a little video on our shorts, so if you've never been to Super 7 and you are in San Diego, give them a look, because that is an awesome store. Good people work there. They make some great collectibles. And currently they are doing a line of Godzilla Ultimates. I have two of them in my collection already. I have the Biollante, and I have the Comic-Con Godzilla, which I plan on doing reviews of sometime soon. But this bad boy was in stock. And, you know, as I get older and with finances the way they are, I got to be a little picky with what I collect. But when I took a look at this bad boy, I'm like, nope, this is coming into my collection. So today we're going to look at the Ultimate Destroyah from Super 7. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, because I've seen a lot of people talk some smack about the Super 7 Ultimate lines. You know, quality varies, but you know what? I have so far been pretty happy with them. Now, this, though, looks like it's going to be a step above the rest. So let's jump into the review. So as you can see, this is the cover art of the box. So it has this slit, which is completely embossed, which I love. You can get a look of it there. Just the detailing alone. And let's spin it around. More detailing. And then simple. I mean, come on. And then a little more embossing. The light really gives you a better look at the etching that went into this thing. It's pretty nice. I got to give them credit. I love, much like my DVDs, I love a good cover slip. It really adds more to the collectability, especially putting that much effort into packaging. For a collector, that's a beautiful thing. So let's lift this bad boy up and take a look at the actual figure and the rest of the packaging underneath this guy. And look at him already. Like this guy he's going to be something spectacular. So with the cover slip off, as you can see, you got the window. And I'm not kidding, this is a giant box. This box is huge. Even in comparison to the other Ultimates, like this is much bigger. So let's get a look at the back here. So they got the Noriyoshi Ori art, which I love these things, and the posters were always better than the movies sometimes. Look, that's not me knocking the Heisei movies. Those are the movies of my childhood, but they never quite lived up to what the imagination that this man conjured when doing his poster art. So there we go. Here's what the back of the box has to say. Hold that a little bit better. Simple but elegant. Now let's pop this bad boy open and take a look at all the accessories, the actual quality of the figure, and all the fun stuff that comes with reviewing toys. Now this is just a little added bonus. So there is an inner sleeve for the display of the box. That will come out. And you know what? This smells like fresh print. That's one of my absolute favorites. That smell of like a new book, you know, that new print smell. It smells delightful. If I could bottle this, man, I'd be a billionaire. And here is how big the blister for this thing is. This thing is massive. Look, this is my hand next to it. And I got a pretty big hand. This thing is gigantic, guys. And as you can see, he's in there pretty good. There's straps all around. Casing here to protect the feet. There's the mini destroyers, the head, and then there's a secondary in the back for the wings and the tail. All right, I'm back. I just spent 10 minutes struggling to get this guy out of the blister. Credit where credit's due, man. Super 7 made sure that this guy came as complete and undamaged as possible, because there were straps, there were plastic blockades, and man, this guy was in there. Like, he was tight. So it was a little bit of a struggle to get some of these pieces out. But here you are. Here's the entire figure out of the box, all of the accessories, and all the other pieces. So let's put this bad boy together and go into the full review. So I just noticed the detailing in the end part of the tail right here, which to me is bonkers in a good way. This is something that 99% of toy manufacturers will just completely ignore, because, well, you're never going to see this piece if it's assembled. But Super 7 went with the extra mile and put detailing and actually painted it. So kudos. I love this attention to detail. The tail, man, this thing's got heft to it. So the main reason I'm also showing this is because, well, it's got a ball and socket, which, you know what that means? We gotta get out the trusty hairdryer to loosen this bad boy up so we can get them assembled. This thing is massive. He's a good 8.5, 9 inches tall. He is decked to the nines in detail, as you can see. I mean, look at that. The paint is fantastic. I know a lot of people had issues with some of the early paint jobs on the first wave or two of the Ultimate line. That seems to have been rectified. I had the Biollante. The paint never bumped me. But then again, as picky as I am as an action figure collector, it didn't bother me too much, considering that, yes, you're getting an action figure Godzilla. Like, there's not a lot outside of Trendmasters and the occasional like one-offs from Japan. We never truly got a real action figure line. Even the Godzilla Kong figures from Playmates, I mean, they're nothing like this. When I think of action figure, I'm thinking G.I. Joe, I'm thinking Transformers, I'm thinking mobility, articulation, all of that. And this guy has it in spades. So let's look at the articulation first. So on the head, he is on a complete swivel. So the head can move left to right, up and down. I mean, that's already more than the Playmates figures that I reviewed last week. Man, that's awesome. The shoulder has a small joint. It can move up and down. It does feel like it's kind of clocked in or locked in. So right here, you have full mobility. The arm does twist. It is on a ball joint, and the fist, which is completely replaceable. I will look at those in a minute, but the hands 100% full rotation. And I do see, yes. So there is a joint in them as well, so you can move them up and down. The legs are on a hip. The hips are on a joint as a ball and socket as well. So you got the hips are, man, those are loose, but not like, they're not loose like they're gonna fall apart. They're loose in that you have good range. Where parts of this figure, when I first opened it, before I went into this review, I kind of like loosened it up a little bit, as you kind of have to do with your action figures when you open them, because they are going to be stiff from pretty much being shipped and sitting in. I mean, they're new, so much like anything, you got to break them in. The legs have some rotation; they go left to right, and the feet have some movement as well. Again, this is stiff. I don't want to, I feel like I'm going to break it if I do that. Like in trying to force it. I don't want to force anything. So it gives you a good wide stance. I mean, look at that pose already. That's amazing. Now let's look at the wings. The wings are on a ball and socket joint. So you have full movement. They go in on a peg. I had no issue with the pegs. The tail did have to warm up, but these right here, they just popped right on in. So no using of the hair dryer. And move this out of the way. They fold. So you can get the full suit look, which, attention to detail, I love it. I absolutely love it. Now the articulation on the tail is pretty good. It's segmented. The claw at the end is full rotation. You get a pretty good segmenting, so you can kind of, it doesn't move too far, but it gives you some measure of movement. So the paint and the sculpting is exquisite. I mean, look at that. Look at that ugly mug. They went all out. So I can already hear people talking about the teeth. It's because I got the camera zoomed up. When you look at it from the regular eye perspective, these do not look as bad as the camera's making it look. It looks pretty fine to me from afar. Nope, kind of seen behind the scenes there. So the neck, look at this. The detailing right here, because he's a very crabbish. So you can see just insane detailing. I would argue this is up there with any SH Monster Arts. And honestly, maybe a little bit better. Just even the veins in the wings, the scales on the back. I mean, look at that. So as you can see, simple socket. So here's the original hand that I just popped out. As you can see, it's on a hinge. And here's the new guy that is going to go right in there. So here is the neck joint and the socket for the head. It's a little stiff. And just do a little loosening up. The head that came on the figure. And the additional head. Let's get this guy on there too. And here's Destroyah with his entire accessory sets. So the new hands, which are the open claws and the roaring mouth. These I had little to no issue getting in. They just popped right on in. The head joint, much like every single Japanese figure I have ever owned that has swappable heads, a little bit of of a struggle getting it in there, mostly because you're always worried you're going to break the neck joint. To be fair, this one is pretty thick, so I would just recommend giving it a quick hit with the hair dryer to warm it up, and it'll just pop right on in. You can see the detailing there, absolutely nuts. And as I said before, look at the horn, it's perfect. The other one, that was on me, so before you say anything. Fantastic. And I have to say, this thing is heavy. He's got heft to him. This is a solid figure. The thing I don't like about the SH Monster Art figures is that they're light because they feel hollow. This thing is not hollow at all. This thing is solid. Like, it feels like if you throw him in a dump truck, he is going to survive and continue sailing forth. 100% impressed with this guy. I cannot believe I live in a world where there's a legitimate Destroyah action figure. All right, let's take a look at the accessories that came with this guy real quick. So here are our accessories. So unlike the other figures, especially the Godzillas, they didn't include a beam with this, even though you could. They included the human-size crab version of the Destroyahs. I believe they're the aggregate. I think that's how you pronounced it. You get 3 of them. These guys are about the size of a 50-cent piece, maybe a little bigger. But they are to scale with the Godzilla. So you can recreate the Destroyers when they dissolve and form like their little Legion counterparts and put them on the Godzilla, which I kind of love. So you can either put these with the Burning Godzilla that is in this line or the Meltdown Godzilla, which stay tuned. And honestly, I'd rather have something like this, especially if, the character has other forms or things like this over a beam any day. I know some people love their beams. I'm not huge on the beams because when I display my figures, I display them as is. I don't do the diorama stuff. But, to each their own. I'm not judging you if that's your thing. The detailing on these, considering how tiny they are, is still pretty good. Look, they bothered to give them the proper paint job, which is more than I can say for someone like Playmates, who, the aforementioned Doug figure that I just reviewed was one solid color. So there is shading, there's detailing. That's the little extra touch the Super 7 gives. That is the collector's touch, if you will. So I love these little guys. They're pretty fun. Like I said, they are one solid piece, so they're just a basic mold. But as you can see, there's some detailing, but you can only do so much with something this small. So again, I am giving full credit to the fact that they do bother to give them the proper paint job that goes along with the figure. So there it is. This is Super 7's Ultimate Destroyah. Overall, I am in love with this guy. I love action figures. This is 100% an action figure. It is aimed at the adult collectors who love their action figures, but still has the functionality of an action figure. You get posability. Is it as posable as the SH Monster Arts one? I'd say it's pretty much up there. This is, suit-wise, it's a very clunky, big suit, but the figure itself does match that and actually gives you a little more vitality than even the suit was offered because limitations and everything. At the price point, I think he was $110. That's still not bad. This thing is big. He is a chunky boy. And you get 3 other Destroyers, but you're getting quality. This is absolute quality right here. I cannot hammer that home enough. So I know people were kind of giving Super 7 some guff. I would not give them guff on this because this guy is totally worth the price point, especially in this day and age of prices rising on the collector's market. Look, you're going to pay, what, $175, $200 for the Fig Arts Destroyah. You can get this for half the price and arguably bigger and better quality. So I highly recommend it. The thing with the Ultimates is that they are limited run. So when those bad boys go up for pre-order, I would definitely jump on those, considering what's coming out, because again, I got to pick and choose what I'm collecting nowadays. So personally, I'm probably not gonna get the whole line, but that -1, it's looking pretty tempting. So I'll probably be picking that guy up. Now stay tuned. I do have a few more of these guys I'm going to be popping open and reviewing, but I wanted to start with the Destroyer because I was excited as hell to get my hands on this. So if you like what you hear, we do have a show. We are the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. You can find us at thekaijukingdompodcast.com, or you can listen to our show if you don't want to download it on any of your favorite streaming platforms. That's Spotify, Google, YouTube Music, any of that stuff, Apple. We also have social media. We're on X at the Kaiju Kingdom, Instagram at the Kaiju Kingdom, and Facebook.com/the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. And if you like what you see here, hey, maybe give us a like, maybe give us some feedback. I'm not going to tell you to follow us, but if you want to, that's all on you. And with that, will wrap up this edition of the Koffers. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.